I'm Corey Harding-Keizs of CHK Real Estate in Port Credit, Mississauga. Today I'm sitting down with Sacha, the founder and force behind Aeon Designs here in Port Credit, a space that's created a real presence in the community, not just through what they do, but how they do it. I can't wait to learn more about Sacha, her team, and what Port Credit means to her. All right, let's start at the beginning, from idea to I'm going to pursue this.
Okay.
How did your business begin?
My business really began for two reasons. The first one was just necessity, right? I needed more flexibility in my schedule at a certain point in my life, and the only way to find that at the time was by starting my own business, which was also something I had always wanted to do.
What were you doing prior to that before you started the business?
Before I started the business, I was working at another architecture firm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're like, I'm going to branch out onto my own. I want more flexibility, ownership.
100%. I mean, I wanted to be an architect since I was 10 years old. And I knew that eventually I was going to start my own business. The timing of it was really a function of necessity, but also I was at a point where I had enough experience, I had the confidence, I had the relationships built, and I felt like I needed to be in charge of who I was working with at that point in time, right? Like when you
wanted to control the narrative.
I wanted to control the narrative. I wanted to help real people. I had been working at a super luxury architecture firm at the time. And as fun as those projects are, you kind of get disconnected from reality at a certain point. And I felt like I could help people at a different level on my own.
More connection,
more solving everyday problems. Because I do believe that you can improve people's lives through design. And that's really the whole ethos of my business, is getting to know people, getting to understand what's currently not working for them, and how can I create a home or a business or whatever type of project I'm working on. How can I make it the best version for them, right? How can I improve their day-to-day lives? How can I help them reach those goals, whether it's being able to entertain or being able to show a level of success that they've created for themselves. Like, that's really what I try to do in every project. And I felt like I was at a point where I had all the tools to do that.
And I guess that brings me to my next question. Like, how do you keep the creativity and what the client wants, and having them open-minded to what the vision is?
I mean, we have a lot of conversations early on. Even before I submit a proposal for a new project, I really get to understand them and what the issues are, and also what the constraints are, right? Like, what is the budget that we're looking at? Is it realistic? Or how can we make a realistic project out of that budget? Timelines, other site constraints. So I take all of those functional issues, and then we try to focus as well on a couple of items that are going to bring them joy. And important, yes. Exactly. Like, is it having natural stone countertops? Is it the amount of light you want in your home? Like, we find a couple of things that are design related in addition to all the logistic related constraints, and we make sure that we're really hitting those things and keeping those things top of mind throughout the whole design process.
And I mean that brings me to my next question. You kind of answered it, but like, what does good design mean to you?
Right. Yeah. Good design is that. It's a marrying of functionality and aesthetics, right? I think a lot of people recognize good design without even knowing what it is that's good about it when they're in a space that has been designed intentionally, right?
Like, this space feels really great. I love it.
Yes.
But it was very intentional bringing that to life.
Exactly. And people might not be able to articulate that, but that to me means that I've done my job well, in that you can't really tell, you can't really explain what feels good about it, but that that it feels like you feel comfortable or joyful or happy or content within that space. That's actually something I do very early on too, is I do kind of a woo-woo exercise with clients.
Woo-woo, I like this.
Yeah, where I have them close their eyes and envision what it will feel like to be in their space. And that goes for homeowners, that goes for other business owners, if we're working on a retail establishment or if we're working on a restaurant or a hotel. How do you want people to feel in that space, and how do you want to feel in that space? And we keep that top of mind. And so that's part of good design, is creating that feeling for them in their home, but also making sure that it functions really well. Like nothing makes me happier than a homeowner or whatever, a business owner coming to me after their project's done and saying, I didn't even realize how much easier my life would be once I've moved back in. That's the best. That's what I strive
rewarding,
for.
Right? To have a client come back and say that.
Exactly.
That's good design.
Exactly. That's good design. And that's it. It's a marrying of the feeling you have and the functionality of the
feeling
space.
and the function.
Yeah. Yep.
So important. I mean, you probably have many stories, but do you have a project that's really stood out to you?
Oh,
like a client situation or project or marrying of the functions?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, every project is unique and special in some way, but we're finishing one right now that I think is going to stay with me for a long time.
Okay.
It's an age-in-place home. My client's actually downsizing. They live in a beautiful home now, but it's just too much for them at this stage of their life. They're moving into a bungalow. We did a massive renovation of it, added a beautiful 3-season room. And we made the whole home age-in-place functional. So there's wheelchair accessibility within it. Even though our client is fully able-bodied, this is her intended forever home, right? And being
looking ahead, you're making it
looking ahead, yes, and knowing that this is where she's going to spend the rest of her life, and that she will be able to do that comfortably, is really rewarding.
I love that. That sounds like a very special project.
I
can't wait to see more about that.
Oh, yes. Everybody will be hearing and seeing more of it.
More content
in
about
the future.
That in the future. What do you think is the most misunderstood thing about design and creating a space?
I think it comes back again to the aesthetics versus the functionality of a space.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, that, everybody gets really focused on how things look, but there's also how it feels. You have to think about light and zoning and building code and beauty all at the same time. There is a lot that goes into that at the design and architecture level. So I think the biggest misunderstanding is that we're focused on what it looks like, but I am just as focused on what it feels like and how it functions.
Which is so important, right?
Exactly.
Is how it feels.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. And tell me about the name. How did you come up with the name?
Oh, yeah.
Aeon.
The name Aeon came about.
I meant to ask that at the beginning.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a good question. And I don't think I've ever actually articulated it in a formal way. So I'm really happy that you did ask the question. It came about because I never wanted to be the center of attention in my company, right? A lot of people it would be very easy for me to say, Sacha Lee Architect, here I am, right? But I didn't want my company to be solely about me, because I do believe better design is created in collaboration and as part of a team. And I have an amazing team, and I definitely can't do what I do without them. Aeon is actually the god of eternity.
Okay.
And I believe that all good projects have a timeless feel to them. Even if we are buying into some current trends, I still want the project to feel relevant 10, 15 years down the road, because it's a huge investment for all of my clients. Aside from the actual purchase of the property, it's probably the biggest single personal purchase they'll ever do. Sometimes it's more.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So for me, it was about creating a name that could be embraced by the whole team, not just by me as the entity or talking head of it. And then also my design philosophy, which is rooted in timeless, tailored, beautiful design.
That speaks to me so much.
Okay.
Because this year I'm like with my team, like it's, collaboration ecosystem.
Yes.
Right? Because we can do more together. We can go further and faster together. And I feel exactly the way you just explained with my team in my business is the same. So I'm glad I asked that question.
I'm glad you asked too. Thank you so much, Corey.
And it must be exciting, like having your own space in Port Credit. What made you decide to get, your own design space?
Of course. That's a great question also that I haven't articulated before, but it was not an easy decision for me. Previously, I had my office in North York.
Okay.
And I was sharing my office with an interior decorator. And there came a point where we both felt like we had somewhat outgrown those spaces. And so it was kind of a pivotal moment for me. I was already living in Port Credit. I designed and built my home here in 2019, 2020. Great time to be undergoing construction,
right?
But it's
okay.
Here we are. And I really felt like I wanted to be more rooted in a community. My previous space, I just felt like we were going into an office every day, but I had connected so much with the Port Credit community already. I was getting projects here, and I just felt like I needed my office to be part of something bigger, and Port Credit made a lot of sense in that way.
It's so funny that you said rooted.
I know.
I'm going to come back to that because that's exactly what this series is all about. But talk to us about your team. So there's yourself, and then the team is an extension of you, part of the everything that you're doing. So how does your team look like?
So my team looks like myself, plus we have design staff, and then we have operations and office management. I would say it's a bit unique in that most architecture firms at my size don't have a person dedicated to the operation of the business. But
so important.
But it's so important. And I think that that's where a lot of architects actually miss the mark, and they treat their business not like a proper business.
You're speaking my language.
I know.
In my business too.
And this is why we get along. Yes, exactly.
The operations is super. It's your foundation.
It's the foundation. Exactly. So having that person there that allows me to be better at design, right? It allows me to free up my time to actually focus on the projects, where a lot of architecture firm owners are really running around trying to do it all, but maybe not doing
Jack
everything.
of all trades, right? Like there's a lot of hats to wear, right? And in your business, my business, that I don't think people really understand. So having that team that's going to support you so you can offer a higher level service to your clients and your projects.
100%. Yeah. Because if I was trying to do it all on my own, I'd probably be somewhat failing at all of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But this way I can focus more on projects to make sure that they're going really well. And I can also, I have the capacity to mentor my team, right? Because I want them to always be growing too. And if I can't give them that time, then how are they learning? You know what I mean?
There's something so rewarding about that, like mentoring. And when you've been in the business quite a bit of time, like myself, is to give back to your team and to mentor. And I'm all about like seeing, leaders rise in my organization is so rewarding.
Yes.
Right. So that's why one of the things this year is all about like collaboration and ecosystem, and we're in this together. So
exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly. We are in this together. I think, this year is going to bring a lot of challenges for a lot of our businesses.
Yeah.
And I want to have the capacity to deal with those and, give my team the opportunity to do what they do best. And yeah, I mean,
how do you handle that?
How do I handle what?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you because it's a question how do you handle having the capacity and the bandwidth in the market and the things that we're talking about and managing a team and a mom?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a constant balance.
Okay.
You know that.
Yep.
Sometimes your personal life has more focus. Sometimes your business life has more focus. It's never going to be quite equal, and you're never going to get it 100% right. But my philosophy has always been just try to be better than you were the day before.
Yeah.
Like my biggest competition is always myself.
Exactly.
New Year's resolutions don't exist because I just want to be better than I was. That's always been my goal. And do I get it right all the time? Absolutely not. But I just try every week, I make my to-do list and I try to really focus on those things that are actually going to move the needle
for that week.
Yep. And sometimes it's just sitting in the studio and collaborating with my design team. Sometimes it's hitting the pavement and finding new leads. Sometimes it's going to a dance
competition. This registers with me so much.
Sometimes it's taking a little pause and taking my laptop on the road so that I can spend a few days with my daughter at her dance competition and support her. It's never perfect, but I'm just always trying to be better.
I love that. You're trying to be better than you were yesterday. Yes. And every day, the way I look at it is a new chance to be a better version, right?
Exactly.
It's like, yesterday was, this happened or whatnot. I have tomorrow's a new chance, and also focusing on like what's happening next. Exactly. Sometimes when we get too focused on all the things coming up, it can get overwhelming. When people think of Aeon Design, what do you want to be known for?
That's a good question.
Like, think of your business for, obviously designed and build.
I think I want to be known for being passionate, right? Being able to guide my clients in a direction that will have a successful end result, right? I want to be known for listening and responding in a way that creates successful projects. I am passionate about what I do. It's all I've ever wanted to do. I've been doing it now for almost 20 years, which is wild. And I just want to be known for, really at the end of the day, being a good human who's trying to do good work and make people's lives better as a result.
And I think you're doing just that.
Oh, thank you. I hope so.
I think you're doing just that. And I know you have some big projects that you're working on and a lot of things on the go, but what are your plans for the future? Like, where do you see the business going?
I really want to keep building on some of the work we've done recently around multi-generational or age-in-place homes. We've also done a couple of commercial projects lately, which are they're so exciting and they're so rewarding because I get to give back to the community, which is really nice. And it also makes the design more approachable to people who might not otherwise hire an architect. Like, again, going back to that, people might not know why they feel good in a space, but I think exposing people to good design is educational for them. And I think it's necessary for people to, understand what good design is. And like, for better or worse, when I'm working on residential projects, most people don't get to experience that. But in a commercial setting, they do. And so I'd love to do more of that, especially in Port Credit, South Mississauga area.
Like, that's your target. You live in the area. You're involved in the community. I know that.
Yes.
This is where you're raising your family, like myself. That community outreach and footprints, super important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when people think of Aeon Design, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being authentic, right?
That's powerful.
Yeah, for being authentic. What you see is what you get. I also want to be remembered for being thoughtful and for, genuinely caring about the community that we live in and the clients that put their trust in us, and creating, a more beautiful world at the end of the day.
And I think when we're authentic, like, it oozes out of us, right? Yes. And I think like you attract when you do that. People can see, like, she's real, she's, doing a great job. I'm attracted to that, right?
I hope so.
I think so.
I hope so. I know you've had amazing clients because of your authenticity, and I'd like to think like I have been so blessed. I've had amazing clients thus far, and I hope that continues.
Oh, it will continue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have to ask, outside of Aeon Design, what makes you you?
I think what you see is what you get. I really try to bring the same mentality to my life as I do to my work. Again, authenticity, approachability, balance.
Leading with heart.
Leading with heart. I try to be very active. I try to lead with kindness.
Yep. Very important.
Yeah. And, I grew up in a rural area.
Did you? Where?
I grew up near Tillsonburg, Ontario,
Okay.
on a tobacco farm.
Didn't know that.
I know. And it really, I think, has guided me because you learn work ethic at a very early age. You learn work-life balance, or you learn how you can make them intermesh. I mean, on a farm, you live and work in the same place, right? But you have to carve out moments for yourself, in addition to the hard work. And I think there's just an authenticity in that type of environment, right? What you see is what you get. You have to work with what you're given, whether that's the weather or the land or whatever. And I brought that mentality to kind of everything else in my life, whether it's personal or my business. So I think that's really what guides me as a person, is my environment and where I grew up.
So a fun fact that you don't know, it wasn't a tobacco farm.
Okay.
But I grew up on a farm as well.
Oh, I love this. This is why we're friends.
We had like a little hobby farm. So like pony, I had a pony named Coconut, and my parents had 4 acres, and so it was in Markham. But that definitely, I think it shaped me to be who I am and have those experiences. So that was so interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years experience, that's a lot of time in the business, right? And you must have so many lessons. But what would you say is one of the biggest lessons that you've had so far?
Oh, yeah. The biggest lesson is always have a plan, but anticipate that things aren't always going to go exactly according to plan. And as long as you can think on your feet and pivot and be okay with
just thinking pivot.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you can be okay with pivoting and having an open mind, it's all going to work out in the end. Yeah, I mean, what I do is a lot of renovations and additions. You have to make assumptions about what you're going to find. And then
once you start the project.
Yeah, exactly. Once you start the project and demolition happens, there's always going to be some moving parts there. It's kind of like getting a haircut. Like, it's going to look worse before it looks better. That's really,
it's true.
That's really what it is. But if you have a plan, which is, this is what the end result is going to be, then you can work with what you're given to make that happen.
And also know where to pivot. And I think as a team leader, when you are running a business and you have your team, you have to know when to pivot.
100%.
You have to be able to take that leadership and know when to pivot, even though you might not be secure about that at the moment. You have to know when to do that, right? I think that's really, really important. I love all of this so much.
Thank you.
And everything that you're doing in our community of Port Credit. I know community means a lot to you. And I got to ask, what keeps you rooted here in Port Credit to put your roots down and build your business here, give back to the community?
I mean, for me, it's really just the people. I've connected with so many amazing people in this community that I just couldn't really see myself going anywhere else at this point. I think Port Credit has so much to offer. And we're kind of at a pivotal moment where things are going to really take off here in this Port Credit neighborhood. And I want to be a part of that. Too. I really want to help make this community an even more desirable place to live, that attracts even more amazing humans to it. And I think that I have the opportunity to do that.
You're definitely making your mark here.
Oh, thank you.
That's for sure. Raising your family here, giving back to the community, running your business, putting your roots down here in Port Credit. I love that. And everything that you're bringing to the community. And I'm so excited to see everything that you continue to do.
Thank you.
And achieve, because I know there's so much more to come.
Thank you, Corey.
You're welcome. So where can people find you?
People can find me online at aondesign.ca. You can find us on Instagram, also at aondesign.ca. LinkedIn, you can search for me personally, Sacha Lee.
And your office address?
And our office address, yes, of course. We're at 19 Stavebank Road in Port Credit, right off of Lakeshore.
In the heart of Port Credit.
In the
Great
heart
location.
of Port Credit, yes. In the heart of Port Credit.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
having me, Corey. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited for people to learn more about your business, about what you do and what you bring to this community.
Thank you. I'm excited for us to potentially work together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So excited. It's not just about what's offered here. It's about how people feel with the kind of experience built with heart, care, and intention. That's Aeon Designs, and this is what makes our local Port Credit businesses so special.